Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Thirsty Vapor, and we're here today to see why you'll drip frozen Sansrival from Kremo, powered by Hyper-Viscomatic. But first, let's see a little rundown of the details.
Frozen Sansrival by Kremo, a heavenly cold dessert vape of rich sweet meringue layered with a crunchy bread tone on the exhale. Frozen Sansrival comes in a 50 ml plastic bottle and is available in 3 and 6 mg nicotine. Truly a tasty vape sauce.
Alright, now all that boring stuff is out of the way, time for the fun bit. What do I think about Kremo's frozen Sansrival? Now, with all my reviews, I'll be using two setups, my cloud chasing setup and my flavor chasing setup. For my cloud chasing setup, we have here a Surge Mod by VHO, a Haze Atomizer by VHO, and inside the haze I have here a macro coil, a 7-wrap macro coil dual, 21 gauge nichrome. And for my flavor chasing setup, I have here my Lava Box M by Volcano E6 and my Sector 1 Nexus. Inside the Sector 1 Nexus, we have here a 21 gauge A1 Canthal microcoil. That's a dual coil, of course. I like them duals. Oh, by the way, we do have reviews for both the Lava Box M and the Sector 1 Nexus. So, drop down a little view if you have some time. Okay, Frozen Sansrival's flavor. Okay, for those who don't know, Frozen Sansrival is, I think of it as a Filipino dessert. It's like a meringue with some really fine margarine or butter in there, and it's usually cold. Well, let's talk about it. On the inhale. On the inhale. This is special to me, man. This is a personal favorite. On the inhale, the first thing that's gonna hit you is that margarine flavor. I think it is a margarine flavor. It's not really a buttery, it's a creamy sort of oily flavor. I love it, man. And that menthol hit with just the right amount of sweetness. On the exhale, on the Cloud Chaser Atomizer, I get that same margarine hit, consistent on the inhale and the exhale. Now you might think maybe that will be a bit too tiring on the palate. It's not. For me, I like it. On the flavor chasing device, we do get that sharper note of the menthol, but not too much. It's just enough to wake you up. With that, of course, buttery margarine fine flavor. Now, it does say on the flavor description that it is kind of has a meringue tone. Now, when you think of meringue, some people would think, oh, it's gonna taste eggy. No. It is around sort of, I can't say it, like airy. It's kind of airy. It's light. For me. How about the aftertaste? It is consistent all throughout. The inhale, the exhale, and the aftertaste. It's all that margarine, buttery, mentally light tone that I get. On the drippers. For the tanks, for my flavor chaser, it's still that satisfying buttery notes, but it's a bit sharper, specifically on the menthol hit. It's a bit more fresh. But it is a pleasant aftertaste. Even in that mouth-to-lung inhale. Now, how close is Frozen Sansrival to its flavor description? Well, I was saying before that I get mainly a margarine tone in the vape. And the inhale, exhale, and the aftertaste. And it doesn't say anywhere in the flavor description about the margarine. But me knowing what Frozen Sansrival actually tastes like, the real dessert, I can pretty much say it tastes accurate. It does say meringue on the flavor description, and I'm just getting a light tone, light feel of the meringue, so I can still say it's in the actual flavor. So it's pretty close, but I can't give it a cigar because they didn't mention that margarine hit. And that goes through for both the cloud chasing drippers and my flavor chasing tank. It's consistent. But for me, it's close enough for it to become a win. It's close enough. Let's talk about how unique this flavor is. To me, that is the real kicker about this juice. I haven't seen anything like it. The actual flavor, Sansrival, I haven't seen anything like it. As far as I know, and I have tasted a grip, a gang of juice, and I haven't. This is new. There's just the right amount of unique to it, which is where you can say that you haven't tasted it, but it's kind of familiar, which throws you for a loop. It kind of gets you, well, flavorly confused, or that's a phrase, but that's how I feel. And a side note, that uniqueness makes me come back to this juice a lot. I've been vaping this a hell of a lot. Ooh, yeah. Now let's get down to my favorite part of this review, the throat hit rating. Now for me, I'm a lover of throat hit, man, and the darker the juice, usually the better the throat hit. And look at that, come on. This is for the 3 and this is for the 6, and they are, well, they are that ripe color for me. And the throat hit speaks for itself. It's a good thump. It's a full throat hit. Even on the 3, it's not mushy at all. It really gives you a jab in the throat, which I tend to enjoy. Now this, like its brother, the apple tart, I wouldn't recommend it for them cloud chasers out there who are weak on the nicotine, because it is kind of strong, on the strong side. And saying that, I mean, it's not like you can't cloud chase this. I'll talk about that later. But for me, on the throat hit, it is a win. On both of them, it is a win. Kremo does it right for that nicotine. Saying that, is it heavy or is it refreshing? Let me take a drag. Now, for me personally, because of that menthol hit, even though it's buttery, it is refreshing. Now, I've heard from some of my partners that they notice it is kind of heavy. It kind of tires you down vaping it. But I think that's down to personal preference. It might be different for you. It might be different for me. But for my vibe, for my vape pace, I like it. It is refreshing. It keeps me going. Now let's get down to vapor production. Now, this is a 60-40 blend, unlike its brother, the apple tart, which is a 70-30. So it's going to be lighter on that vapor production. But for me, it still gives that right amount of vapor that gives it enough neatness, enough mouth feel for it to be, well, satisfying. Ooh, look at that. That is, for me, just enough for it to be, well, an all-day vape. Here on the tanks, same story, a bit weaker though. It's still gonna give you a decent mouthfeel for you to be satisfied with vaping it, but it's not gonna be winning any cloud chasing competitions. Let's talk about that nose. The nose, how it smells like. Well, when you're vaping it yourself, you don't really get that a prominent smell. You really don't get a prominent smell. It's very neutral. You do, when you exhale through the nose, you do get that slight mentally vibe on the nose as well, making your nose like you ate something like a mint, maybe. But it's no way unpleasant. It's very neutral. For that guy sitting next to you, how does it smell like? Well, it doesn't smell of anything really. Yeah, it's still very neutral. So for me, it's still safe vaping outdoors, which is a plus. It's always a good thing. Yeah, you won't be getting any smell complaints unless you have, well, bad breath. Well, that's on you. For the question, that all-important question, is it an all-day vape? Can I vape this like 12 hours plus on the go? Well, for me personally, it is unique enough and tasty enough for me to say, for me, it is an all-day vape. I know I keep saying for me, but this is so specific because I had friends that say it's, well, strong on the flavor. So it'll make them feel like it's tiring on the palate. So it really can't vape them that long. But for me, again, this is an all-day vape. You should at least try it once. See if it's an all-day vape. Now, I've been vaping this juice only for a day, but look, come on. Look at that. It's almost gone. So, dude, that says a lot. For build friendliness, how bad does it gunk? I have been using Kremo's juices interchangeably for 2 days now, but I've been vaping Frozen Sansrival specifically for a day. And look at that. Come on. It is clean. It hasn't degraded my cotton at all. And this has been there for, well over 2 days now. And it's still fresh. It's still clean. I can still taste all the notes. So, for drippers, it is build friendly. For tanks, even more so. Now, I can't take the top cap off this tank because, well, it's hard. It's a hassle. But, take my word for it. It is still clean. It is still pristine in there. It hasn't caked. It hasn't gunked it up much, and it hasn't burned the cotton through. So it is build friendly. It could be your build's best friend for all I care. It's gonna take a while for it to be dirty. To run it all back down, final thoughts. What do I think of Frozen Sansrival? Well, first of all, I gotta reiterate, Kremo does sell in 50 ml bottles, but anyone who knows anything about juice bottles is 50 mLs on these bottles are up here until the neck. Just right there. On Kremo's juices, I don't know if you can see this to the camera, but no bubble. And that's a lot of bang for your buck, if you ask me, man. And the flavor is so full, it's so rich. For me, it's so bright. And it's so unique, it's always gonna be worth for the flavor. You have to try this at least. I keep saying it, man. But this is specifically, the Frozen Sansrival is special to me. So, it is a solid win. And I gotta talk about that throw hit too. They're always on point, Kremo, on that throw hit. Woo! Now, let me tell you where you can get your hands on this tasty, tasty vape sauce. It is available online for sale at thirstyvapor.com. So maybe drop us a visit, see our shop. Also, it is available on any physical location carrying hyperviscomatic products. So, if you're in the vicinity where there are shops carrying around, drop them a visit also. In saying that, that has been it for Kremo's Frozen Sansrival powered by Hyperviscomatic. And this is Thirsty Vapor, reminding you, stay thirsty. Where's my mark? Shout out to my boys at Kremo. Give them some love. Maybe go to their Facebook page. Drop them a like. Come on, help us out. Help them out. Also, if you have any ideas, any comments, any feedback, any questions, leave them at the comment section below. And if you want to see more of Thirsty Vapor, come on guys, hit that subscribe button. And this has been it again for Thirsty Vapor. Peace!